Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you had an excellent 2025. It's time once more to write a wish list of things I want to see come from Lucasfilm in 2026 and onwards. The last time I made a video like this was 3 years ago. So before we get started, did any of the things I asked for back then come true? I asked for Legends Omnibuses and Epic Collections to keep getting reprinted as they are the main physical format for reading EU comics moving forward. And they kinda did that. The first few Epic Collections got reprinted, and the Old Republic Omnibus got reprinted this year. So that is a good start. I asked for the Essential Legends collections to have a little extra, like new short stories or author annotations added to them to make them seem like the essential version. And no, they did not do that. The ELCs have been just reprinting the books like they have since Wave 1. I asked for more EU figures, and in better quality. And honestly, yeah, I think they have been pretty good. We got Dash Rendar, Kyle Katarn, Starkiller, Mara Jade, Joris Sabaoth, and all in pretty decent quality. Granted, the Disney canon definitely gets the priority on new figures, so I wouldn't mind a few more EU figures more often. I asked for higher page counts on the omnibuses, and they have not really changed all that much. New ones come out around 1,000 pages, or 1,300 pages if we're lucky. I don't see this pattern changing much in the future. I asked for a Legends Disney Plus show. And yeah, of course we didn't get one. But you gotta ask for the moon on at least one of these, right? I asked for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny to respect the already established Indiana Jones EU and lore. I want to say I think it did, but that movie sucks so hard that I think everyone just has agreed to ignore it, which I'm okay with. I asked for official social media to post more about EU stuff, just for fun. And they couldn't even do that. The simplest, easiest ask on the whole list. I also asked for more international Legends releases. This is not the easiest thing to keep track of, but I think they're doing a somewhat decent job. If you live outside of the US, please let me know how your country is doing in terms of getting Star Wars EU books and comics. I've been keeping an eye on France and Italy over the years, but I'm curious about other countries too. Okay, so with all that out of the way, here are 10 even more things I want to see from Lucasfilm. Number 1. Physical edition of the Battlefront Classic Collection. Lately, a lot of older Star Wars games have been re-released and remastered to various degrees on PC and modern consoles. This is usually accompanied with the game released in a physical format. On top of that, Limited Run Games also releases the game in a large collector's edition with lots of neat little items. They have done this with Knights of the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Force Unleashed, Bounty Hunter, Republic Commando, The Dark Forces Remaster, Episode 1 Racer, and Jedi Power Battles. However, of these many recent re-releases, the Battlefront Classic Collection is noticeably absent. I'm assuming that this is likely due to the horribly botched release of the game by Aspyr. This game was very hyped, but upon release was plagued with bugs, glitches, and only a handful of servers that were available for the thousands of people who wanted to play on the game's launch. And on top of that, they got in trouble for using a fans mod to add in the DLC characters Asajj Ventress and Kit Fisto. It also costs more than the originals, which were already on Steam anyway, and it has a much larger file size. But despite all the controversies, I still want them to release a physical version. A lot of the problems have been fixed with patches, so I don't think them releasing it physically would repeat the backlash. A potential collector's edition could include some neat little knickknacks, like an art book, keychains, standees, and more. Those are always fun. Plus, having it physical would mitigate the large file size. I don't think Aspyr is going to do this. I think the embarrassment from the first release hasn't fully left this game's reputation. But I would still like to see it. Number 2. Release the audiobooks that were left off. As you already know, the Essential Legends collection waves, in addition to reprinting EU books with new covers and in a new trade paperback format, Del Rey has also used it as an opportunity to give certain older stories that have only received an abridged audiobook from back in the day a full unabridged version, not limited by the technology of yesteryear. However, some books have been skipped over in these waves, most notably Knight Errant and the Republic Commando novels, and I have no idea why. There was a time when it seemed like the Essential Legends collection was going to stop releasing the audiobooks altogether. Then a few months later, they announced a bunch all at once. So there is a precedent of them going back and giving certain legend stories audiobooks that have been skipped over. To be clear, they are still doing audiobooks. Rogue Planet and Dark Lord Rise of Darth Vader got ones this year, and Cloak of Deception and Labyrinth of Evil are set to get ones in 2026. All I want is for them to catch up on the ones that were missed. Number 3. Add certain missing books to the Essential Legends collection. Speaking of which, there are also noticeably absent books from the Essential Legends collection, which is fine if they're going to release them at some point anyway, but some people have pointed out with differing levels of amusement that some arguably more important stories to the overall expanded universe have not been added to the so-called Essential collection before, let's say, books like Honor Among Thieves, especially in the New Republic era. Of course we got the Thrawn trilogy, but then where is Jedi Academy trilogy, the Callista trilogy, Black Fleet Crisis, the Corellian trilogy, the Thrawn duology, and that's to say nothing of the New Jedi Order, Dark Nest, Legacy of the Force, and Fate of the Jedi. I get that there are a lot of books, but at this rate, you may want to sprinkle in some more post-Return of the Jedi, because after a while, these next dozen or so waves will be nothing but that. Number 4. More Legends cards in Star Wars Unlimited. Star Wars Unlimited isn't the first card game Star Wars has ever attempted, but it is the most recent one, meaning a large portion of the cards from this game are either from the movies, TCW, and Disney canon. Though recently in the Secrets of Power set, they have started to release a few Knights of the Old Republic era cards, and I think that's just swell. However, I think you can do more. Much, much more. I want to see cards depicting EU characters, locations, objects, and events across all eras. I want to be able to make multiple decks of nothing but EU cards. KOTOR is a nice start, but there is room for more, especially if Unlimited is going to be the official Star Wars card game for a long time. Additionally, it would also be nice to feature art of EU characters in places that have little or no official depiction. Kinda like how we got Darth Nihilus on the Essential Legends Revan novel. Give those EU cards some love, because they're probably the only ones I'm going to go out of my way to buy. Number 5. More cinematic trailers for SWTOR. SWTOR expansions are still being released. The storyline of SWTOR is still progressing as the only source of brand new Legends content. But even to those who don't play the game, the cinematic trailers are iconic. These bombastic, beautiful short stories convey so much emotion in just a few minutes. In nearly 15 years of the online game, we've only gotten 6. I would love to get more. I know they can't be cheap to produce. They probably cost millions, but they are so much fun, and do so much work crafting the setting for the MMO. I propose that for the next big update, maybe 8.0 or something, releases with a cinematic trailer. And if it wouldn't be too much to ask, if they could make it a more regular thing moving forward. Number 6. Make Fate of the Old Republic and the KOTOR remake Legends. Speaking of Old Republic cinematic trailers, we just got a little one for Fate of the Old Republic. I spoke a little bit about it already, along with the KOTOR remake, but in the EU fandom, there is a disheartening acceptance that these games will be part of the Disney canon, which is a massive shame, but a valid conclusion to draw. Lucasfilm has no problem nostalgia baiting people with EU references, but would they ever just make these games part of the old timeline, specifically in regards to Fate of the Old Republic, as it is a brand new Old Republic story? I would like to hope so. At least they should. Disney canon fans get new movies, shows, games, TV shows, books, comics, and everything else. To Lucasfilm Games, my humble request is that with the case of FOTOR and the KOTOR remake, or remakes, make them part of the Legends timeline, and while you're at it, maybe some new tie-in material to go along with it. Shatter the notion that just because it's quote-unquote non-canon, that we can't get new stories in our continuity too. Number 7. Stop borrowing from the EU. While we're on the subject, please stop pilfering from the expanded universe. I am not happy when a character gets, quote-unquote, recanonized. It is just muddying the waters for people who don't know the differences, and it shows me how lazy you are with creative freedom. You separated from the EU in 2014, yet you still come back to draw on the well, because you don't seem to have any better ideas. I find it funny when Disney canon fans hate on the EU or call it shitty fanfiction, because their continuity sure does seem to come back to it over and over again. I want what I have always wanted. The EU Legends continuity to be continued with the stories and characters that were built up over decades, and I want Disney canon to come up with its own original ideas. Though with multiple seasons of a Baby Yoda show, I can see why ripping off the EU sounds so enticing. Use those big creative brains, Lucasfilm. I believe in you. Number 8. Put Star Wars The Old Republic on consoles. Here is something that I don't necessarily need, but with almost every single comment section on a new SWTOR update, I see multiple people asking for it to be brought to consoles. Would it translate the best? I wouldn't think so. Could it be done? I'm pretty sure it could. There are several MMOs on consoles, ones that are much newer than SWTOR is. If they could do it, I'm sure the Star Wars MMO from 2011 can. Like, look at Final Fantasy XIV for example. I play SWTOR on PC anyway, but I also say, give the people what they want. Maybe it's exactly what SWTOR needs to do to boost its player count. Number 9. More deluxe editions. With the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith this year, we got a beautiful new hardcover release of the original novelization with annotations from Matthew Stover himself. This is exactly what I thought the Essential Legends collection could have been. But I digress. I think we should get more deluxe editions of the rest of the original 6 Star Wars movies, along with the rest of the Expanded Universe novels. Or at least a good amount of them, while the authors are still with us. Think about a James Luceno annotated Darth Plagueis novel, and try not to drool. As a reminder, we did receive one of these with the 20th anniversary of Heir to the Empire. You can even re-release that one if you want, but I think it would be fantastic for other Star Wars books to get the same treatment. And number 10, don't use AI. Disney just did a $1 billion deal with OpenAI so that Sora will be able to generate short, user-prompted videos that can be shared by fans, drawing on more than 200 Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars characters. And then the AI slop that they like the most will be uploaded onto Disney+. And this is definitely a huge point in the favor of Netflix and literally any other streaming service. This is dog poop. Disney, Lucasfilm, allow me to save your company with this free advice. Do not do this. Renege on the agreement you had with OpenAI, get your $1 billion back, and spend on something more worthwhile like New Legends books. I'm dead serious. I don't have an issue with AI if people are using it like a tool, or if they're just playing around with it. Whatever. It's when big or even small businesses rely on it that makes them look cheap, like they're trying to take the quickest shortcuts, and like they're trying to scam you. Lucasfilm, don't use AI for this Disney Plus shit, or for anything else for that matter. You don't need it to write stories. You don't need it to make art. George Lucas didn't rely on it when he made Star Wars 50 years ago. If I'm going to engage with any official Star Wars content, it better have been made by a human soul. That's my main requirement. Anyway, Lucasfilm, that's my list. Following these would make everyone happy, and you billions of dollars. Happy holidays.